Okay, everyone, so last week I went over using advanced Fibonacci retracements and extensions to create fib zones. So right now I'm going to go into one type of mode of phase pattern. After that, I'm going to just re-go over what we went over and give a little bit of analysis, okay? So taking a look here, I got AUD open on the daily charts. Now one thing to take a look at, we see the last move looks like a correction. A 1, 2, 3. So let me just mark that real quickly. So it looks like we have an A, B, C right here. So after that, we should be looking for the new direction, or the new mode of phase. So after that, we see some kind of push down right here. And that, to me, looks like an ending diagonal. So let me just mark this off, which can also be known as a wedge pattern. Now taking a look at this, you're going to see 5 choppy moves here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to be 5 choppy moves down over here. So that signals that we're looking for the end of the first push down. Now let me just clear this off. Let's see here. There we go. So this is looking like a 1 to me. Let me just mark this. There's our 1. So let's draw this right here. So we should be looking for a push up on the AUD to the 78913 level. Now the one thing about this is you always have to keep track of the news. With the trade war going on, it can make things a bit more unpredictable and change how things work, especially on the smaller time frames, which is usually why you do an Elliot Wave analysis on the larger time frames to figure out direction, and then use other strategies on the lower time frames. Although it does work on lower time frames, I wouldn't recommend any lower than 1 hour when there's news coming out every day, or in times of economic turmoil with a trade war or potential trade war going on. So you can trade Elliot Wave down to the 5-minute or 15-minute, but you lose some of that accuracy, but it still does provide pretty good signals, and it still does work pretty well. Now taking a look here, seeing that push up, we should see a push up to right there. This right here is what's called a leading diagonal. Now with a leading diagonal, they're pretty simple. You're looking for a 5-wave choppy push down. So if any of you are familiar with a triangle pattern, which let me see if I can find one here. Let's see. Here's an example of a triangle. It forms a triangle pattern. Well, let's draw this out. Each leg has to be shorter than the last, and typically it's a 5-wave move. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, then the 5th wave breaks out and pushes up. A wedge or leading diagonal is similar to that. Difference being it's going to be much more choppy, and it's going to be forming down in a direction and signals a reversal, which you can see here. It's a very choppy move down. So we should be looking for a push up on this pair on the daily, which let's pop down to a smaller time frame here and see if we can keep this clear. So popping down to smaller time frames, it's not the clearest of moves. You can see a push right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by an A. Let me just grab this here. It gets down below this point a little bit. Let's create a zone here. Again, Fibonacci zones you're going to draw here. The first push down followed by the retracement. So let's see. So a strong fib zone would be right about here. Now one thing I should mention is for the fib expansion, many of you aren't going to have the 123.6 default. So you're just going to go to the expansion properties, fib levels. You're going to click add. And then 1.236. Right here for the description, just 123.6. After you add that, you have that added level. And then we have our zone here. Which, as you can see, it just pushes past that zone, but it doesn't get to the 1618, and it doesn't cross the bottom here. So that one is a solid pattern, or a solid signal, I should say, and you would have entered that. After that push down, we're looking for the inverse. We're looking for the 100 expansion, I should say. So let's take a look here. So it looks like it had already reached that. So this would have been a winning trade if you entered on the 1 hour. Based on entry points, it would have given a 1-2, maybe 1-3 risk reward if you used 2 entries. Popping down to the 15-minute. Let's see here. Okay. So let's draw this here. Based on what I saw in higher time frames, on the 15-minute, I can see it pushing down to approximately the 76804, and we just adjust this perfectly. Here's a potential zone I see for this between these two levels. After that, to draw the target, because again we have established it looks like this is going to push up on the higher time frames. You'd use the default 50 level for the expansion to project where you believe it's going to go when you place a pending order. Of course, if it pushes lower, you're going to be adjusting that level and adjusting the take profit. But based on what we see here, using the expansion, since this is a wave 1 and we're looking for wave 3, this ultimately would be the target, the 77233 level. Which this is the money wave. This is where Elliot Wave makes, the big money, the big risk reward. And of course on this trade, you'd be using the start of it, the bottom, as your exit point. So the 76674 point. Now as you can see, this is a trade that I actually am going to take right here. So allow me to just, let's see here. I do have an expert advisor here. Now let me just take this. To adjust this pending order. And because of the time frame, I'll be using 2 entries here. Both will have the same, so we can see how this trade works out. And of course, based on this, just taking a look, let's see here. This one looks like it's going to be a 1-4. And let's take a look at this one. So we're looking at a pretty good 1-4 risk reward ratio here. So for risking 1%, it has a potential to make me 4% of my account. Now hopping over, the only other pair I'm going to take a look at is the the odd on the daily charts. So taking a look at this, just drawing this right here. This one looks like it just hits the 50, or just barely misses it, I should say. Taking a look here. It goes above the 161.8 level, so that's valid to be able to trade the wave 5. So taking a look at this, we should see a retrace to this level, and that is where you place a pending order. Now, of course, it looks like it may end up pushing up above, meaning wave 3 may not be done, or again, it could be because of news. So this isn't something I take on a larger time frame, but it gives me an idea of which direction I'd be looking for in a smaller one. So taking a look at this one we have a pretty simple. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we should be looking for 5. So drawing a retrace of this. It looks like it's going to end up missing the 38.2. But it may push downer for another possible pending order. Then taking a look on this, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we should be looking for that push up. And again, inside of this, you can see a smaller motive pattern. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taking a look at this, if you were to pop onto the 5-minute chart and trade there, it would still follow the rules. See right here for the wave 1, it hits the 50 level, just misses this, so you'd miss a second entry point. But entering on that, you'd go for the 1618 fib extension. So drawing that extension here, you'd far surpass that level in terms of profit. And of course, that's why I use the trend EMA 13. I just pop out of this trade and ride the profits until it breaks below the line. That's how I get even better risk-reward ratios than, the standard rules, personally. Which, if you guys are curious, I can go into it more in the next session. Followed by that, you'd have this one right here, which you would look for the 38.2 to the 1618, which it looks like it just about hits. Although, unfortunately, you wouldn't have entered this trade. Then you have the 5, followed by looks like an A, B, C. So that's pretty much all I have to talk about today. If you guys have any questions, of course, ask. I want to just give basics how I go through analysis and show you a potential trade I'll actually be taking as this pushes down and I end up entering. Hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, that's fine. I'm willing to take a 1 to 4 potential risk reward. And of course, let me adjust this. Entering this right here. There we go. Okay, and that's all I have for today. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, whatever, anything you want. So it looks like here, 13 times 3. Looks like this one's a 1 to 3 and that one's 1 to 4. So the potential for me, I'd be risking 0.5% on this first entry, 0.5% on second. So overall, just risking 1% of my account, I have the potential to make 7% on this one trade. Hopefully it'll work out. It is going to take some time to develop. I'll of course bring it up in the next session, or you guys can follow it as well. And for everyone, have a great day. That's all I wanted to go over for this section, and I'll brainstorm in next session. I believe I'll start going into different patterns you can use, such as explaining how to trade a triangle pattern, perhaps a flag pattern, and go more into wedge patterns and double tops, head and shoulders, how I trade those and how I incorporate them into Elliot waves. So have a great day, and I'll see you next session.